All right. Hello, home service pros, and welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 57. Today, we have a special guest interview with Felix Mwania, the owner and CEO of AccuPay Systems, which is a payroll processing company in Temecula and Huntington Beach, California. They do payroll processing for commercial companies as well as federal, state, and local government agencies across all 50 U.S. states. We had a great discussion with lots of pointers I'm sure that you're going to find helpful about payroll tax compliance, employee benefits, and more. Felix is truly a great resource for clients needing advice on accounting, taxation, and payroll. He's got a master's degree in taxation from Cal State Fullerton and has spent his entire career in accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll. He's also extremely well-read with an incredibly diverse range of interests and really a truly great character. I enjoyed every minute of speaking with him, and I'm sure you'll enjoy listening and pick up some valuable insights along the way. So let's welcome onto the show and get right to it.
Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast for Contractors. Get actionable advice and tactics on how to grow your home service company. Plus interviews with industry experts dropping value bombs in marketing, sales, and operations. And now, let's power up your home service biz with your host, Mark Ambrose of Battle Plan Marketing.
All right. So welcome to the podcast, Felix. Appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Yes, you're welcome. So let's dive right in and help our listeners learn a little more about payroll processing. Felix, tell us what you're doing now and who your ideal customer is and how your company helps them.
So we process payroll, and payroll is sort of like a wide topic, but payroll processing involves HR compliance. It involves time and attendance, employee benefits, and stuff like that, and retirement plans as well. And our ideal clients basically are 1 to just about 300 employees size companies, but we also serve government. So any commercial client above 300 employees, we would rather not take because usually those are self-reliant and they can take care of themselves for the most part.
I see. Larger companies do it in-house?
Yes, for the most part, yes. And then besides the commercial companies 1 to 300, we serve government agencies, that is federal, state, and counties, and then cities. And for those ones, we can take up to even a few thousand employees per agency because their payroll is usually a lot more streamlined.
Nice. That's great.
Yes.
Diversification there. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk compliance laws, right? A lot of compliance laws in your industry. What compliance laws must, like a home service company, follow in payroll processing?
Compliance is also a pretty wide topic too, but for the most part, when it comes to payroll, usually it's labor laws. Most of the time, it's just labor laws. And labor laws could span through stuff like overtime rules, non-discrimination, and equal employment and safety. So for the most part, those would be the main topics that are discussed when you talk about compliance in payroll.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So you warn companies if they're working their employees too many hours and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. Beyond 8 hours, it's time and a half. And then actually beyond 12 hours, it is 2 times. So if an employee gets paid $20 an hour, beyond 12 hours, then they get paid $40 an hour.
I see.
Yeah. And we help contractors and other regular businesses to comply with those. So if they don't know, and for the most part, new employers usually don't know all those rules, we help them comply and do the right thing.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yes.
How do these companies send you their payroll data?
We are a modern company, so we try to be on the cutting edge of technology. And one of the ways is actually through email, which is pretty simple. We can also start calling it old school because email has become of age.
Yes, it has.
They can send by email. They can also send through a secure portal that we have on our website that they would have to put in their email address. They get a secure code before they can submit anything. And that portal is encrypted. So anytime they send data through that portal, the data is encrypted and then we get a notification. We have to go in and download it through the same secure portal.
I see. Do they use like Excel or something like that to send you their data?
Yes, they can use any sort of word processor or data processor application. And so they put in those hours and the time logs and all that good stuff, summaries for the most part. And then they submit and we take it and we process the payroll. If the employer is capable or they have representatives that are able to use a computer, then we can give them access to their payroll account. They can put in those hours in the system and they notify us and then we finalize it. Or they can even finalize it themselves and they get to review their payroll before submitting it.
I see.
And it just makes everything easier for everybody involved.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So choices, lots of choices depending on their level of technology competence.
Absolutely. We actually have a couple of clients that send their payroll hours by fax. We don't like it, but that's what they like to do and we accommodate them.
I see. I didn't know fax machines still exist.
Oh, they do. We don't have a fax machine. We use scanners and when they fax anything, it comes to our email. So
I see.
we're able to accommodate them that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Diversity and acceptance. I like that.
Absolutely.
Are you integrated with their accounting systems like QuickBooks and other?
Yeah, our system is modern, like I mentioned a moment ago. So we are integrated with QuickBooks Online and we also integrated with Xero. Xero is another accounting platform that has become popular. It's growing tremendously. So we're integrated in both. And for QuickBooks Desktop, which is also kind of sort of phasing out, but it's been a lot of big companies still use QuickBooks Desktop. What we do is we generate a general ledger that once it's exported out of our system, it can be imported into their system because we don't have a live integration with that particular platform. And that's a limitation of QuickBooks, actually.
I see. I see. Most are using QuickBooks Online then in the cloud?
Absolutely. Yeah. Most companies use QuickBooks Online. And it's been a trend over the last 1 decade, actually.
I see.
Companies moving from desktop to the online platform.
Yeah, it's more secure and your data's in the cloud instead of your desktop crashes or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a lot more flexible too because companies are able to collaborate with their accountants and bookkeepers that are not in their office.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we do here.
Yes.
How do you handle new employees? Like if, a home service company hires a few people, how does that get handled?
When we onboard new clients, contractors, home service employers, we orient them through our system. And one of the things that we insist on is that once they collect the hiring paperwork, one of the forms is it basically collects all the relevant data for a new employee. What they do, they take that information and they put it in an employee setup form that is hosted on our website, accupaysystems.com/setup. And they put in that information, any information that they do not have that is required, they actually get reminded on that website, on that form, because it wouldn't submit that form without that information, right?
Perfect.
And therefore, it sort of forces them to make sure they collect everything because the initial collection of information saves them a lot of time and agony in the future. And then that form is secure. So they submit that form and they attach all the other relevant information like a voided check for direct deposit or even a direct deposit form that is downloaded from their bank and the W-4 form, all the compliance documents. And then once we receive that information, we set up the employee within just a few minutes and that employee is ready to be paid. For direct deposit, for example, and I don't know, maybe I'm diverting too far, but direct deposit information, once it's submitted, that employee is ready to be paid even within a short time.
Nice.
We do not wait for like a full payroll cycle to activate direct deposit because we verify the information based on the bank information provided.
Nice. Great system. How many people take direct deposit versus a actual paycheck?
We don't force employers to set up direct deposit, but because we are a modern company and because of the way we onboard our clients, we impress them that direct deposit is the most convenient way of paying their employees. And so I want to say about 90% of all the employees that we pay through our system are on direct deposit.
Wow, that's great.
Maybe even higher than 90%. I would have to go back and check, but it's a pretty high percentage.
That's fantastic. I'd like to hear that. How about sick time and vacation? How do those rules apply to salaried employees?
Whether it's hourly employees or salaried employees, there's really not much of a difference per se.
Okay.
But employers tend to have a preference. They tend to give salaried employees better benefits somehow, simply because once you put somebody on salary, you're basically telling them they're valuable to the company.
Right.
I normally see such employees getting more vacation accrual percentages compared to hourly employees. Sick time, usually, obviously, California has a minimum of 3 days of sick time per year, which is 24 hours.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a minimum. But salaried employees, I see them getting more for sure.
That's great. So upfront in the taking in the new client, you have that discussion with them or through the documentation of how they're accruing sick time and vacation.
Absolutely. Obviously, besides the blog post that we have on our website, when orienting new clients, and especially we take notice of new employers. New employers, we have to orient them and talk about all those labor laws, and obviously so that they may be compliant, especially those who've been processing payroll in-house. We see them actually not being compliant. And once they set up with our system, we help them become compliant. And if they need to do retro pay, then we help them to do that as well.
Oh, great.
But otherwise, our role is basically to do the best that we can so that we can get our clients to be compliant.
Nice.
And do the right thing going forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules they're probably not aware of.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How about for independent contractors? No real benefits there, sick time and vacation, right?
Independent contractors. So for the most part, they don't get vacation and sick time because they're independent. Basically, an independent contractor is a business person that is working for another company.
Right.
And so for the most part, they just get flat pay based on the work that they are doing. But I've actually seen some relationships with employers whereby some of those contractors actually get some benefits. Not more to do with sick time and vacation, but more to do with health insurance. I've seen that. It's actually common nowadays. And they also get like 401k. It's interesting to see those kind of benefits being given to contractors, but they are good because they solidify the relationship between the contractor and the employer.
I'd like to hear that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of health insurance and 401ks, so you handle all that as well for these companies, yes?
Yes. Obviously, besides the partnerships that we have with 401k providers, let me tackle a little aspect of that.
Sure.
We have companies that are integrated with our system, whereby when payroll is processed, the payroll data just flows directly into the 401k company. And that data is processed, and then our client's bank account gets debited for the 401k amounts that need to be transferred. So instead of sending checks, the amount is debited directly.
It's seamless. Nice.
Yeah. If that company is not integrated with our system, we have methods of compute all the numbers. And then we pay. It generates a file that we upload into our SCH processing system. And the money moves from the employer's bank account into the 401k company.
Nice.
The final method is just an old school check, whereby we either generate the check if the employer allows us to do that. We generate a hard copy check signed by the employer because we have a way of signing those checks electronically with the employer's handwritten signature. Check is printed, we just put it in the mail. It goes to the 401k administrator. But the employer can write that check as well. We actually have some that just write their own checks and send to the 401k administrator.
That's sweet. What if a company does not currently have a 401k or health insurance, but would like to? Do you get involved in that at all? Like introduce them to you?
Oh, yeah. Just because we are a payroll company does not mean that we cannot help in other aspects of the business. So we have partnerships. We have 401k providers that we partner with, whether integrated or not. And so we get them in touch with our clients if they're interested, and we help them sign up, and then we take care of everything else. Once the contract is in place, we help them manage everything from that point onwards, and we deal with the administrator directly.
That's beautiful. Take a lot of burden off of them looking at a ton of 401ks and health insurance plans.
Absolutely. And 401ks used to be expensive a few years ago. So now there are quite a good number of alternatives that are very, very affordable. So it's no longer a really good excuse to say that the employers cannot sponsor a 401k.
Gotcha. So administration costs are minimal now.
Yes, very affordable now.
Does your data show at all that those kind of benefits help hold on to key employees?
Oh, like 401k and those retirement plans and stuff like that? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's interesting that companies that offer those benefits, they have a much, much higher retention than those that do not. And I've seen it. We have a company that we started working with them when they only had 3 employees back in 2009. And right now they have about 40 employees. They offer benefits. And this is my model company. This client, they do manufacturing, by the way. And when you think about it, manufacturing companies generally have a lot of high turnover.
Yes.
But this is the one company that the entire last year, they lost 1 employee.
Wow.
The previous 3 or 4 years, I don't think they lost any.
Wow. That's great.
Yes, this is an amazing company. I have never seen retention power like that before. And they offer all kinds of benefits, not superfluous, but just common sense benefits. They're generous with their sick time and vacation and 401k, and they're just an amazing employer.
Nice.
An amazing client as well.
Great management.
And not only that, but we have quite a good number of examples.
Nice. Yeah. Valuing their employees and treating them well. It's good management.
Yes.
So can employees themselves access their own payroll history and data? Like, can they get into your portal and look at stuff?
Yeah. So we have a dedicated portal for employees to log into and view their pay stubs, view their W-2s at the end of the year. They can also track their vacation.
Oh, perfect.
Their sick time. And they can even request sick day off or even some vacation day off. That portal basically is kind of like employee self-service. They're able to do a lot of things.
That's great.
Yeah. And all we need is an email address when setting them up.
I see. Educated employees are good employees.
Yes, absolutely.
What happens if mistakes are made at all in the payroll tax mistakes? Who pays those penalties if there are any?
While they are very rare, if it is AccuPay's mistakes, and actually we've been in a situation whereby when migrating a new client, we picked up the wrong numbers. They were given to us correctly, and one of my employees picked up combined Q1 and Q2 into one quarter. And so that created a small mistake in the payroll numbers. We actually ended up overpaying some of the taxes. But another quarter, we actually underpaid because of the initial mistake.
Right.
And so when a mistake like that happens, it is actually AccuPay's responsibility to pay the penalties and make all the corrections. We do not hold our clients responsible for such mistakes.
Nice.
For whatever reason, should it end up being the client's mistake, we still don't look like we don't care at all. We work with them to figure out how the mistake happened in the first place. We help them fix it. If there are any penalties, we try to work with the government to waive them, because the government waives penalties, by the way, if it's reasonable or if it's just a one-time mistake. So we work with the government to see if they can get waived. Eventually, if they don't get waived, obviously we work with the client to get them paid. There are times that we give them a free month if it warrants them getting a break, because it's not about making money, really, honestly. It's about serving our clients. And by doing so, we make some money. That's always the way we do business.
I like that feeling. That should be the motto of every company, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is it? Zig Ziglar. You can get everything you want in life by helping other people get everything they want and what they need. Yeah.
Yep. I like that.
Imagine that a lot of these companies send you incorrect data, like they're not tracking the data correctly. Or am I wrong in that assumption?
It does happen from time to time. And a lot of times, if the data is wrong, sometimes we catch it, because if it's calculations and we are entering historical data, that we catch it.
I see.
Absolutely catch it, because our system actually checks to see if the calculations are correct based on the tax rates and the other prevailing conditions of the payroll. And if it is wrong, we correct it, and we also work with the client. If there are any short payments, then we help the client get caught up. And like I said earlier, if they are significant, we talk with the government, we see if they can get waived. And a lot of times they actually get waived.
Nice. Good to hear that.
So yeah, wrong data is not new. We get it all the time.
Yeah, it's number crunching from people who are maybe not used to crunching numbers a lot from some of these employers. So I can see that happening.
Oh, yeah.
How secure is outsourcing the data to you, right? So you already told me you have your portal, that's completely secure. But if they email it or snail, you said they fax it. Does anybody snail mail your data?
Yes, not for payroll processing. We've seen clients, some of the old school clients, they've FedExed all the payroll setup forms, a few other forms that have been sent through just regular USPS mail. We've seen that from time to time. Some clients, they don't want to upload a voided check through our system. They don't feel like it's very secure, but we don't blame them. We live in a world where hacking happens all the time. And obviously we don't take that kind of information by email, because email is generally not secure.
Right.
We know a lot of email service providers like Gmail, which we use actually, they do a lot of security in the back end. And so you can even encrypt emails with some of these email service providers. But yes, we do see snail mail, but at the same time, we try to accommodate such clients. But otherwise, we have very secure ways of submitting payroll data and set up information like voided checks and social security numbers and all that good stuff. We try to make sure they're channeled through the secure portal.
Once again, diversity of options to suit the client's needs and desires. I like it.
Absolutely. Yes.
How about your own data center? How secure is that? And is there a redundant offsite backup, or how's that work?
Yeah. So our system is not hosted in our office. We use Microsoft Azure.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you are familiar with Microsoft Azure.
Yeah.
It's super redundant. They have, I don't know how many backups they have, but they do have those, and they are publicly audited, and they provide what you call SOC 3 and even HIPAA compliance level of security.
Nice.
And besides that, we actually do take a backup as well. The backup is done on a weekly basis, even though we have backup in the cloud with Microsoft.
That's great. Redundancy.
And then internally, our computers, if you leave your computer, we have sensors on the computer. So if the computer is not being used for 15 minutes, it logs the payroll system. So there's no chance of anybody, unless somebody just comes and kills you and then gets into the system. So,
thankfully, that hasn't happened. Yeah.
That doesn't happen. So yeah. So we have that in place.
Great. I didn't know. So Azure, excellent, redundant and secure systems. I didn't know HIPAA and those were auditing those systems. So that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it better? It sounds like, of course it is, right? Because you know your industry. So how many small businesses try to do this internally? It's much better for them to outsource it. Yes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell clients and prospective clients that if they are trying to save a few dollars here by doing it in-house, they are not doing themselves a good service, because they are going to make a mistake, and that mistake is going to cost them a few $1,000s.
Right.
And payroll processing is actually pretty affordable. If anybody wants to know, they can go to our website and actually check. On the bottom right corner, there's a link that says payroll pricing. They can go and see how affordable it is to outsource payroll. Okay. Now, we are not the only payroll processor in town. So if anybody's starting out, they're sort of thinking they could process payroll in-house, they should think twice.
Yeah.
Because it's not the right thing to do. Compliance is huge when it comes to paying employees right and staying on top of all the compliance, labor laws and stuff like that. So they should absolutely outsource. It's not worth it doing it in-house, even if they're saving $10.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Especially if you're unaware as an employer that you're not compliant and you find out way down the road, the penalties could be enormous, I imagine.
Yeah. And one thing that we do, by the way, when we consult with new employers or new clients, we try to figure out, do they truly know what they're doing? And we tell them, look, when you're in doubt, talk to somebody. And talk to us with no obligation whatsoever. If you come to us and you have questions on payroll processing, compliance, and this and that, we do it for no charge. We only make money once we start processing your payroll and we do the right thing.
Nice. By the way, you mentioned going on your site. So that's AccuPay, AccuPaySystems.com, correct?
Yes. AccuPay.
Great. I appreciate it. So give me a ballpark. Of course, this might be seen in the future. Mm-hmm. What's a general range that payroll processing companies charge customers?
So I don't really know how other companies price their payroll services out there, but I know we are pretty affordable comparatively. Based on what I've seen, I know how expensive ADP and Paychex and Intuit are. And for some reason, their fees just keep on going up all the time. But for us specifically, while our pricing is also on our website, we are super transparent. But for weekly payroll, and let's say 5 employees, right? 5 employees, weekly payroll, the base is $20.
Oh.
And then it's $2 for every employee being paid.
Oh, all right.
So it will be 2 times 5, that's 10, plus the base of 20. So it will be $30 to process payroll.
Super affordable.
What that covers is every aspect of the payroll processing, tax filing, tax payments, and everything in between. So we don't charge extra for filing quarter-end tax returns or even making the tax payments for the client. So that fee covers everything.
I was going to ask that next. You make the automatic payment of payroll tax to the government entities?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is done electronically.
Nice.
And that minimizes mistakes because when you do things manually, chances of making mistakes are magnified. And so we try to avoid that. And we also run reconciliation reports at every quarter, actually every month first, and then every quarter to make sure that all the tax payments that are supposed to be due are paid on time and they are paid to the right agencies.
Sweet. That's huge right there. I would say all by itself is worth every dollar. What advice, Felix, would you give to somebody whose clients are mostly home service companies, contractors? So if somebody was just starting one of those businesses, what advice would you give them as far as payroll processing, employee benefits, along those lines?
Not many companies, when they are starting off, offer employee benefits, but it's always good to consult. Okay? I mean, for us, it's a free consultation, but I would say this, just seek some help so that you can get started off properly. Okay? If you choose to do things in-house, a lot of mistakes can happen. And I mean, you would rather pay a little bit of money to get some help to understand what is required of you as a new employer before you make that decision of either processing in-house or outsourcing. And obviously, outsourcing is the best way to go because it saves a lot of time. It's not expensive at all. It may look like you're spending $30, but it's really not spending. I mean, it's an investment because of the many things that you avoid. And once your employees are paid on time and they're paid accurately, they will be happy.
Right.
They will be content. They will not be looking to switch or to move. And happy employees are productive employees.
Exactly.
Just start right and do the right thing.
Yeah. Happy employees equal happy customers.
Absolutely. Yes.
You cannot have happy customers with unhappy employees.
You got that right.
I would add that it sounds like also that they should look at adding some kind of benefits as quickly as they can afford them because it'll help them hold on to their key people.
I agree with you 100%. Like I was saying in the beginning, not many companies start off with benefits because obviously there's a really fine balance between what you are paying the employees and how much is coming in. But like you said, offer benefits as soon as possible. Vacation is a no-brainer.
Right.
Vacation and sick time. Sick time is compulsory anyways. Vacation is a no-brainer. Offer that as soon as you can because it's a small benefit, but it goes a long, long way. And then as things stabilize in the company and you're making money, you start offering other benefits like 401k.
Right.
They are called sticky benefits because they help you retain your employees long-term.
Nice. I didn't know that phrase. So sticky benefits to retain people.
Sticky benefits, yes.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Is there a common myth in your industry that you'd like to debunk right now at all?
Yes, a couple of them actually. So payroll bureaus, and most of the famous ones are the likes of ADP and Paychecks. And now we have some newer ones like Intuit is becoming a good size bureau because now they have full service payroll, not just self-service, but now as an outsourced bureau. But their reputation is that they scourge their clients. For the most part, it's true. Those big bureaus, they just want to milk every penny from their clients. For the most part, they give teaser rates, whereby an introductory pricing for XYZ. Mm-hmm. First of all, I would want to say, if you're going to be getting a teaser rate, stay away from that company because in due time, they are going to raise your prices tremendously and you'll feel the pinch. And migrating payroll is not always something that you want to do on a whim.
I bet.
So the myth is that payroll bureaus scourge their clients. Not all of them. Certainly we do not.
Right.
We don't have even setup fees. We tell our clients, hey, you are used to paying setup fees with other bureaus. It's our way of welcoming you on board. So we will set you up free and we'll process your payroll. And then once we've done the right thing and everything right, then we can get paid.
Nice.
So that's one of them. The other myth is that once you outsource to smaller companies, you're exposing yourself to fraud and possibly that CPA or that small bureau just going out of business and taking you down with their company. But that's not true. Obviously, look at their history before you move your payroll to them. For example, AccuPay has been in business longer than I've been alive, actually.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Our company was started in 1978.
Wow.
And even though it's gone through some transitions, meaning that from that time, it was under a big company called CCH until 1992, when they decided they did not want to do payroll. They sold the company to two employees that were actually in charge of that division. Those two employees were in the company. They ran it until they decided to retire in 2012. And then 2012, I bought the company and it's been stable. And I had my own business even prior to that, a payroll business that I actually merged into AccuPay. So look at the history of the company that you're trying to do business with. If they've been in business for 2 years or less, then obviously you have to be careful. If they've been in business longer than that, or the proprietor or the owner of that business has been in business, related business, for longer, then you know there's most likely there's stability. If there is some history, bad history, you will get to know. And a lot of times you should always just go online and just type up the name of the company or the name of the person that is in charge of that company, and things will come up online.
Right.
If there's a bad history, it will come up. So do a little bit of background check.
Yes.
But otherwise, not all bureaus are the same, and not all small businesses are the same. Especially people should always try to go with a local company because they can always go and see them face to face.
Yeah, I like that part. And so you're right. So ADP and these guys, you're paying for their marketing and their giant offices everywhere. And I agree. You can look up today, you can go on LinkedIn and look up the owners of the companies, the smaller companies that you're looking to do business. If I go on LinkedIn and look up you, I see you spent your entire career in accounting and payroll processing.
Yes.
You weren't in 12 different industries. So do your homework.
Absolutely.
But put the faith in a good, solid, small local company who you can meet face to face if need be. I like that.
Agreed.
Let's get into some general stuff in closing. Felix, what's your favorite part of being a business owner yourself?
When I see myself making a positive impact in small business owners, especially helping them get things right at the very beginning. And not only that, but also they come into my life after they've gotten started and I help them stabilize and get moving in the right direction. I'm happy. Besides just payroll processing, I try to help my clients because my background is accounting and tax. I have a master's in taxation. I try to make sure that my clients know how to save money. They're not just floundering their earnings and they're saving and paying their employees well and keeping them and making sure they have this longevity. Then I'm happy. The other thing, I like the flexibility of being able to take time off to spend with my family. It's not about work all the time. It's about just having a great balance between work and life.
Yes, totally. Same here. I have those same two driving forces. When I can impact a business owner and their employees, the business as a whole just gives you goosebumps. And that's tremendous reward right there.
Yeah.
And again, more time for your family and stuff. Plus having employees, right? And nurturing their lives and their careers. And so that's wonderful too.
Oh, absolutely. That's the other thing I should have even mentioned. And I know I talk about it all the time. Can you imagine? I mean, being a business owner and providing employment to some people.
It's wonderful.
Their livelihoods are literally dependent on you as an employer.
Yeah.
And I love that because I get to share my life with them and they share their lives with me. And by doing so, we make something happen in terms of taking care of our clients.
Right.
They earn a living. I earn a living as well. That's a mutual benefit. And we actually become like a family. And it's an amazing feeling when you have that kind of a relationship.
100%. Yeah, it's beautiful relationships. Speaking of being influential to other people, what's one or two people that have been most influential on you and your life and your career? I
wish I could say my dad, but I grew up without one. And that's unfortunate because I know he's missing out. But in all truthfulness, one person that has significantly influenced my life is Elon Musk, actually.
Oh, wow.
Being so smart like Elon Musk, it just drives me to even do the kind of things that he stands for, like being green. I have solar in my house. I have a smart home. I try to be as green as possible. We don't even buy bottled water because I know it's pollution and all that. There's just so many things that I can go on talking about that he inspires me. The other person that I really like what he does is Bill Gates. Bill Gates is quite influential in my life, and not just now, but he's always been influential from the 90s when I was still very, very young, and mostly because of his charity. I mean, he is wealthy, and a lot of wealthy people out there, they don't do much of charity, but for him, the kind of investment he and his, I don't know, is it ex-wife now, or are they still kind of going through?
About to be, if not yet.
They've done some tremendous work in helping eliminate certain diseases. And not only that, but also minimizing the effects of some of those diseases, investing in a lot of research. And those are the kind of things that really touch my heart. And so I like what they've done, and I hope they continue doing that even in their separate lives. I actually really love them, and I was really heartbroken. I was so heartbroken when I heard they were divorcing. But I overlooked their faults because of what they've done.
Oh, sure. Sure. We all have faults, and it's difficult for two people to grow in the same direction for decades and decades. Two very inspiring people who take on big picture stuff and change the world. Good, two inspirational people. How about books? Is there a book or two you would recommend to our home contractor audience, or really anybody?
I read a lot. This year, I'm going to brag here. Sorry, Mark.
Brag away.
Yeah, I think I've read about 38 books so far.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 40, but I think it's about 38. I haven't checked lately.
You're burning through more than one a week there, Felix.
Yes, I do more than a book a week. in average. And some of them are small, like about sort of like 300 pages. Some of them are bigger. And I read wide. I don't just specialize in books that are more centered towards business. I read history, I read health, I read inspirational books and all that kind of stuff. But the two books that have actually impressed me a lot, and I know I have a lot that I can talk about, but they're not even centered towards like contractors.
That's okay.
If I went back to my history, maybe I could come up with some. But there's a book called How Not to Die.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. Yes.
How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. It's an amazing book. It talks about how to live healthy lives and more so towards non-meat diet, plant-based.
Yes.
It's an amazing book. And it's crazy how many people are living with chronic diseases like heart disease, high blood pressure, kidney diseases, lung diseases, all that good stuff, diabetes. And I've actually seen so much change in my life since I actually started going meatless diet. It's amazing. That's one of them. I would encourage it. Anybody, whether you are super healthy or not so healthy, young, old, I would highly, highly suggest it. The other book that I've actually enjoyed, Cast, C-A-S-T. It's by Isabel Wilkerson. Amazing, amazing. The last couple of years we've seen a lot of racial tension and stuff to do with what's going, both political and just societal issues to do with Black Lives Matter, foreigners. It's crazy. I love being informed. You cannot just imagine what you know is the right thing. Get informed. And I encourage people to read wide. This book talks about the differences that exist between different races, different ages, different genders, different political classes. It's an amazing, amazing read. I would highly encourage it.
Nice.
And my final book, I know you asked for two, but
that's okay.
My final book is Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh.
Man's Search for Meaning is an amazing little book. I can't remember how big it was, but it's probably just a couple of pages.
Viktor Frankl?
Absolutely. Yeah, you know him, man.
Oh, beautiful book.
Great book.
Unbelievable. I got goosebumps now that you just mentioned that book.
It's an amazing read. So anybody? Oh, yeah. Please read it.
Those are 3 great suggestions right there. I have to agree.
Yeah.
Diet alone, I agree, totally can change your life.
Oh, yes.
And your mindset and your business, your relationships. It'll just trickle into your entire life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd have to agree with that. And Viktor Frankl's book is amazing. I'm going to go get Cast and look at that as well. We're a strange society. Most societies are strange societies, I guess. And we need to embrace the diversity and beauty of all people, all cultures. It's funny how in diet, we say we love Greek food, Italian food, Cuban food, whatever. Mm-hmm. But we somehow, many of us, close that door when it comes to people. It's very strange, very strange.
It is, yeah.
So grow your own self, grow your own mind, grow your relationship with the human race.
Yes.
If you were my shoes, Felix, is there a question that I should have asked you that I did not?
If I were in your shoes and I was interviewing me, I'll probably ask, what is 1 or 2 things that you wish you knew when you were starting off in business?
Yeah.
As we mature in business, and Mark, I'm sure you know this, you learn so much from experience, from other people, from people who've gone before you in, obviously, whether it's the same kind of business you're in or other kinds of businesses. It's just so much to learn from other people. And that's why I always say we should all be open to learning new things. So over the years, I've learned so many things and I realized, I wish I knew that when I was starting off. For example, I wish I could have delegated more when I was younger, when I was just getting off, when I was so overwhelmed that I was making mistakes. And I remember initially just making quite some gross mistakes that tainted my business for a while. And if I knew, I would have just delegated more. Even if delegating, you don't have to have the people that you're delegating to in your office. They could be remote. I've been able to outsource my work to people in other places, like in India, in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And they do a great job because guess what? They're looking for some money. And because they want to do a really good job so that they can get hired more and more, they do a really good job and they follow instructions. Sometimes there's communication challenges, but you just choose somebody that you feel like you're going to get along with and will understand what you're looking for.
100% there, Felix. That probably should have been the first question, actually. I have to say, the same for me. So my team is all over the world, Philippines, India, Pakistan, here in the US, all over. And I have the same exact feeling. Man, I wish I had delegated out. I've run 3 or 4 businesses in my lifetime. Same problem. And all of our clients have the same problem. They do too much themselves.
Yeah.
They need to train and then trust that those people can get the job done.
Absolutely.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that is very valuable information. So Felix, where can our listeners find and connect with you online?
I don't do a lot of social media. I tend to be social media shy. While I still post on Twitter sometimes, LinkedIn and Facebook, I rarely get on Facebook, but I do have some Facebook groups that I follow. But I'm rarely on social media. But LinkedIn surely is the place to go. For me, I'm on LinkedIn. At least I go and I message people back and forth. And then the other place would be my website or our company website, really, AccuPaySystems.com. And that is AccuPaySystems.com, AccuPaySystems.com. There's a phone number there. There's also a form that you can fill out, and it actually comes to me first before I distribute the messages to the relevant people in our company. So if anybody wants to get in touch with us, that's where we are. That's where I am. And also, if anybody actually wants to check out our services, AccuPaySystems.com, once again, we have everything that we do on that website. But again, our pricing is also there. So at bottom right corner, you see payroll pricing, and you can always go and price our services there. It depends on whatever you need. But for the basic services, the pricing is there. Timekeeping prices are not there because they are also dependent on the frequency. And we would rather give that quote on one-to-one instead of just putting it out there.
Fantastic. Great conversation. Really enjoyed it, Felix. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. This was great. I appreciate your time, and thank you for bringing me to your podcast.
Thanks for coming on board. I really enjoyed it. So we hope our listeners got some helpful value from this interview. Thoroughly enjoyed it myself. Thanks for sharing your time with us today. We hope you liked what you heard. Please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You get notified of future episodes. Feel free to share this episode on your social channels. We'll see you in the next episode. Good luck out there and create a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast. To power up your home service business, for show notes, visit battleplanmarketing.com/podcast. If you enjoyed our show, please share it on social. Until next time.